Hello, welcome back to the channel. As you've probably seen with the opening montage, I'm back on the coast. Now, I'm back on the coast for two reasons. The first reason, obviously, new tent, and I'll go through that in a second. And the second one is, if anybody's been following what's happening, I was walking the Land's End to John O'Groats trail, you can call it. My little adventure was brought short day 7 at Taunton, where something happened to my foot, ankle, where it all swelled up and was very, very painful to walk on. Now it's about 9 days have passed since I came back from Taunton, and today I'm just basically out trying to see if the injuries, I'm not going to say subsided because it hasn't. I can still feel it niggling away at the top, but if it's okay for me to start walking again, I'm going to try and get back onto the trail back to Taunton by the beginning of next week. So what I'm proposing to do today is just go through the tent that I've got, then hike back tomorrow, which is about 16 miles in a nice leisurely pace. The reasons I think I had the injury, it's probably self-inflicted, to be perfectly honest with you. When I got back, I measured the miles that I was doing because I wasn't really paying attention. I just had a target where to go for. And in my mind, I'm used to traipsing over Scotland at 4k an hour, something like that. We had a lot of road walking on that first part. It's a hang of a lot of road walking in the whole trail, to be quite honest with you. And I did in the first 6 days, or 7 days let's say, because it was a half day on the Friday, so Friday to Friday, 177 miles, which was stupid. To say the least. That was way too many miles a day. I think one day when I'd finished getting something to eat, I walked through the night. I walked up to, I think it was about 11:30. Just kept pushing on. God knows how many miles I did that day, but again, just stupid. And I think they just put too much pressure on probably an injury I've had since the Cape Wrath Trail at the beginning of this year. So that's down to me. That's down to my fault. Yeah, definitely. That was an issue that I created myself. So I'm back on it again today. It's taken me 2.5 hours to walk down, which normally takes me an hour to come down on, because I've been just walking nice and easy. I've been flexing the foot and finding out what angles and what sort of terrain gives me the difficulties. And at the moment it's downhill. It's painful going downhill. Going uphill, not a thing. On the flat, nothing. Going downhill, I start getting a pain in my foot. Now pain on 1 to 10 is about a 2. As I said, I started the Land's End to John O'Groats hike with this niggle from months ago, and looking in on it and gone to the hospital getting x-rays and stuff like that, but probably suspect we know what it is, and it's something that's not a quick fix. It has to be an operation with a bit of bone scraping and stuff like that. And the way it goes in the UK at the moment, getting appointments, getting to doctors, getting to hospitals and stuff like that, it's months away. Absolutely months, maybe even years away from happening the way it is at the moment. Right, so the tent I've got, you see it, it's a TFS Stars 2 black label tent. So this Stars 2, it's a 3.5 seasons tent, and the reason it's a 3.5 seasons tent is that it comes with a second inner. Now it's not a second inner which is exactly the same as the inner that it comes with. It's another insert to the actual inner, so you've got two inners, if that makes sense. There is another version of this, is a black label one. There is another pro version of it which comes with a solid inner. It comes with DAC poles and DAC pegs as well, and it's roughly 200 grams lighter than this one. Now the weight of this one, so in the guise that is right now, is near enough bang on 2 kilos. With the extra inner and the ground sheet, it is 2.4 kilos. TFS tents, I'm not too sure on the history of it. I believe what I've seen on the internet, it was another company. They have made other tents before, but this is a sort of breakaway part of the company. The tent itself, this one here is a senior grey colour. It comes in desert yellow and holy green is the other colour it comes in. So I took the grey. I do like a grey tent. Don't know why, it just appeals to me. I do like darker coloured tents. Full transparency, I was sent this tent by camperslist.co.uk. As you see it there with the ground sheet only, that comes in at £214. With the inner and the ground sheet, it comes in at £232. Now price wise, that makes it cheaper than an MSR Elixir, and I'm using MSR Elixir to compare this against. I'm not going to compare this tent against the likes of the Thai G2 and stuff. It's nothing. I'm not going to say it's nothing like it. It's a tent at the end of the day, but quality wise it is nothing like it. There's things in here which I think should be standard on a lot of tents. The half season inner that you can put in it, I'm not too sure how I feel about it. I won't really know that it works until we get colder weather. At the moment it's very overcast, but it's 25 degrees. It is absolutely boiling here at the minute. You probably see in the video the ground behind me is just all burnt, you know, it's all scorched with the old sun. So this will be going up in the guise of a 3-season tent with the mesh on the sides, and I will put the half season that makes it the 3.5 season in. I will put that in to show you what it looks like, but probably throughout the video I will be comparing it against the Elixir 2. Elixir 2 is retailing at something like £260, £270 at the minute, and this has definitely got its advantages on that tent. Where I'm not too sure about is the second inner, but I won't know that until winter time when I get it back out. Right, what I'm going to do now is we'll have a wee look and see what comes in the bag, and then I'll go through all the specifications of the tent, like the hydrostatic heads, etc. Right, so that's everything that comes with this tent. Starting on the left, as you look at it, that's the bag. So it's not a open in the middle bag, that's just straps to attach the poles to. You can see that's the senior grey colour. It's actually look a bit green though, but it is grey. That's the inner, and the fly sheet, it comes already attached. You have 3 sets of poles, 2 poles and 1 cross member, and they are 8.5mm 7001 aircraft grade aluminium alloy. It comes with a little sleeve, a little splint, just in case you break one of the poles. It comes with these, I think these are branded as well. Yeah, they're branded TFS on there. 7-inch pegs, which is great. Unfortunately, you only get 12, and if you watch my videos, I'm always harping on about how we should have 14 with every tent. You have the footprint that comes with all the tents, and then you have the inner. This is the 0.5 season that comes as an optional extra. Right. Let's get this assembled. It's not too windy, so hopefully you can hear me. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to attach the ground sheet to the tent. Quite a thick one, this. It's quite very sturdy. You'll see this, but this is, see on there, it's very thick. So I believe the ground sheet's 20 denier. That's quite a substantial ground sheet. So non-shiny side up basically, and it's got little toggles on the end to attach to it. So I'll get that on now. obviously can do this before you go out in the tent. Right. I'll have the ground sheet on and turn it over. Right, so peg wise, I use my own pegs again. No particular reason, but I know there's 16 in here. And I'm going to use a rock to hammer them in. And I'll put the reason why on the screen now. That ground doesn't break up. Right then, that's the TFS Stars 2 all assembled. Right, so the first thing we'll go through is some stats on it. So the fly sheet itself is 15 denier, 420 taffeta ripstop nylon, and it has a hydrostatic head of 2000 millimeters. So the first thing to look at is these feet here at the front. You see there, they are branded TFS. They are, I think is it a bronze alloy they've used there. There's a bit of bronzing going on there anyway. And the front ones, you can see there is an extra little bit of cordage there and that loop. Now I suspect that loop would go into the deck, and then you would use this part here to cinch up the tent. I don't know if that will lower or raise it. I'll have a little look later on, but unfortunately this bit of ground is on a slope and you do get that little gap there. The poles, as I said, they are 8.5mm. They run up to these sleeves and then they'll go straight across and then dissect one another at this point here. See there that this part under here has got a little bit of extra padding on it there. But unfortunately on the top it doesn't, so the cross member, a bit of movement can rub against that, but I don't know if that is dynamo on there. It may possibly be, usually get these reinforced bits are made out of dynamo, so that'd be quite tough. And then obviously it runs all the way down, comes out the sleeve here, and then you have another little foot there. Again, you can see here that doesn't have the little extended bit, so that's just to bear in mind that one end is a front and one end is a back on it. Looking along, you can see it also has a little tie down point here, a little guy point there, to stop these flapping in the wind. So if anybody's got a tie G2, you'll know what I'm talking about. That does flap quite a bit, so that's a bit of a bonus there. I think MSRs, they do come with that a bit in the middle as well. Looking up in the centre of the tent, We have the vent here, so it's a normal bit of rigid plastic there, two little bits of velcro that you attach it onto. If you can see in there, you have mesh on the inside as well. So the rain flap here, again you have a little luminous bit here. You have another tying down point that you can use if required in stormy weather or whatever. This is sort of catching in the wind already and blowing about a bit. So this isn't reinforced. A lot of them you get the actual rain flap is reinforced, and the zip is just, again, a cloth zip, not a waterproof zip. It would have been nice to see a waterproof zip on it. The zipper is YKK, if you can pick it up on that. These little pulls, I like these little pull cords. These are what you find on Hillybirds and stuff, not Hillybirds, other sort of high-end sort of tents. These are a lot better, especially that you've got something to put your finger on there. Nothing worse with cold hands trying to push your finger or trying to get a hold of that. Single zip though, not a two-way. So again, just for my preference, I would have liked to have seen a waterproof zip and a two-way zipping system for when you're cooking in there, for a little bit of extra ventilation. So the tent has four guy lines, so they have got a little bit of, I would presume that's reflective tape on it there. Has a standard slip catch here, and the actual guy lines are Dyneema reinforced. If you can tell that, is if you bend them, they will keep their shape. They'll keep that there because they've got the Dyneema inside. The normal sort of waxed cloth ones that you get, they just, you know, fall about the place. And then you have little tie back loops there. So that's everything on the outside. Right, so what we'll do now, we'll have a little look inside. Absolutely boiling at the minute. Really hazy sunshine. So there you are, you can see all the way through. You can see with the actual bathtub there fluttering about, you get some half decent ventilation actually coming through here. Right, so one of the tests that I've seen a lot of people doing is a zipper, if I can find it. Just up here, so yeah, you've got two zips. You should be able to do this one-handed, should be. Result. Yeah, so that was a good one-handed zip there. I don't know if you can see here, the tie back here on the outer, it's just your normal piece of material there. But the tie back on the inner, they've actually used elastic, which is great. We've been going on about that for ages, putting elastic on the doors. You do get some tents that have got the hook in there and the elastic comes round. I do understand why there's no elastic on here, because elastic rots. Once it's been out in the sun and dries and stuff like that, it does rot. So yeah, that'll never change. But the inner, that's great to see that you have got a bit of elastic on there to hold the doors back. That is a step in the right direction, as I say. The important details of the inner. So the bathtub itself is a 20 denier, and it is a normal ripstop nylon, and it has a hydrostatic head of 5,000 millimeters. The nylon on the side there is 10 denier, and the mesh is 15 denier. The actual ground sheet there is 75 denier, so it is quite a thick, quite a sturdy ground sheet you get with that. That's probably about the best ground sheet that I've actually got on a tent at the moment. And it does come in at 220 grams, so that's quite a bit of weight that you've added to the tent just with the ground sheet itself. But what I've seen recently with having my punctured airbed, yeah, it's quite important now to take one of them with me. The dimensions of the inner, it is lengthwise it is 220 millimeters, going across it's 135 and its height is 105. Just seems to be very generic just now with a lot of tents coming out from China. It would be nice, you do an extra large sleeping bag, you do an extra large mat, why can't we just have an extra large sort of tent? If you've watched the Novice Well Camper, he's had a massive problem getting himself into a tent. I think 6'3" or 4" or something like that. I'm 6 foot and I have struggled in some of it, especially the one person tents. Once you're in there, you're pretty cramped in. So pocket wise, you have 4, you can see them over there in the corner, triangular sort of pockets. Not a fan of them actually. You probably get a mobile phone in there, or your keys, or a torch or something. To have one run across there probably wouldn't be any great shakes on that. To have one, a bigger sort of pouch. The gap between the inner and the fly, yeah, you get plenty of space there. It's about 9 centimetres I would think in space, which is quite good. Plenty of air gap. Just look at the back there. Yeah, you can see that there. Plenty of space there. Now the inner's attached again with the sort of toggle and hoop sort of system. It goes all the way around. And if you notice, and this is one of the things that I think that all tents should have, you can see you've got a zip on the fly and inner. And a zip there, that one I've already opened. And that is to access the vent at the back. Your 2 top vents there can be sealed up in what you would suspect to be very, very bad weather. Now that, I think, being the first tent that I've seen that in, that's in the budget line, let's say that. I know you get them in the Hillebergs and stuff, that is fantastic to see on a tent. Really, really good to see. Again, there's a toggle, you can see at the back there, there's a toggle you just roll down. You just roll it down and do it up, which I'll do in a second. So not bad at all. So this is the inner, the secondary inner, the 0.5 that gives you, so what do they call it, design, inner shell, they just call it an inner shell. So it has got a zip on both sides, it's just a straight zip top to bottom, you can see that. And then it has the little toggles on elastic that will go around the inside. I hope you can hear me, the wind is picking up a little bit and there was a wee bit of rain. It is forecast to rain a little bit later on, and tonight's temperatures, if the cloud clears, will be in single figure, so may actually use the inner after all. So that's a TFS Stars 2 tent all set up. If I think of anything else while I'm in there that I forgot to mention, I will mention it, but I'm going to get all sorted out for the night before this rain comes in. TFS, while we're here, they have got their own YouTube channel. I will put a link below to their YouTube channel. They're worth a watch. They are quite innovative, I would say. Sort of they're going forward with different ideas. I think one of the tents that I've seen is they've managed to bond what do you call it, DCF to a nylon tent. It's quite interesting to watch. I don't know where they're going to go with it. I think I'd rather have a full DCF tent than a nylon and DCF tent, but who knows what they're doing. It's probably a weight thing. But yeah, as you can probably see, the camera is shaking, the wind is picking up quite a bit. I'll probably put the guy lines and drop the sides down as well. So I'm going to get sorted out and I'll check in later on. think we got a belt of rain coming this way. Right, so what offerings have we got for this little camp? Right. Nice little bottle of red wine. Some oh, what's it called? Is it ciabatta bread? Ciabatta bread? I can't remember. Jeez, always with the mini cheddars. A couple of packets of mini cheddars. There's my plate. And unfortunately it's all pre-made. So I have in here this mac and cheese. For Christmas, filling all your presents. Bacon and beans for the morning, and garlic mushrooms that I'm just going to cook up in a minute. Wait and see what this rain's doing, because I'd like to keep the porch open like this because there's a nice breeze coming through. Right, quite disappointing. The sunset tonight wasn't there. It sort of all misted over. I thought it was actually going to drop down. Tea was nice. The macaroni and cheese. When you do homemade macaroni and cheese, if you add anything to it, it just soaks it up and it goes all mushy. But the garlic mushrooms, all the butter when it melted, mint, absolutely lovely. It was quite a surprising turnout actually. The red wine that I had, disgusting. It was like vinegar, absolutely rotten. Won't be getting that again. But yeah, no, it's not too bad. The meal wasn't fantastic, but not too bad. My foot at the moment, it's a hard one. It's no swelled up. There's no marks, but I've still got the pain going across the is it the bridge of your foot? Bridge, you know, the top part. You call it your bridge. When I had the X-ray done and that, the nurse thought it was, I'm not going to try and pronounce it, I'll put it on the screen now, it was that. And then looking into that, it either heals up after a little while, it gets better, or you need to get the bone scraped. So I'm pushing 4 or 5 months for this now, so it's not healing. Let's just say that. It's been a bit of an annoyance, to say the least. But I'll lace my shoe up differently tomorrow, see if that takes the pressure off. Because when I was walking about out there with my shoes off, well, undone, I just slipped my feet in there. I nothing at all, didn't feel a thing. So that's maybe what it needs. Sandy's looking at different insoles as well, and probably a pair of different shoes, knowing Sand. Something that's maybe, what you hear this, got a little bit of velcro instead of a lace going across the top, or a bit of elastic. It's just something that's going to keep the pressure off. I'll try it tomorrow. I'll try and relace it up, and we'll see how it goes. If that works, fantastic. Then we'll look at getting back on the trail next week. If not, yeah, I think I'm done, and then I'll need to go and see getting booked in and how long it's going to take, and I haven't got any confidence whatsoever in how long it will take to get an operation, if that's what it requires, or even seeing a doctor these days. It's just absolutely ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. I don't know why we're in such a state that you can't go and see your doctor. Saying that, Sandy picks up her phone, speaks to the doctor, and her doctor, she's not in the same practice I am, and she gets in. My previous one, you picked up the phone and you got in as well. This one, you know, turning up limping, walking in the front door, or massive swelled up foot, and your appointment's in a week's time. It's just, we're going to triage you. I'm pretty sure the person who mentioned triage doesn't know what triage is. But there you go. And funnily, and I'll say this now because I'm going to leave that doctor that said that absolute rubbish. When I had the worrying skin damage, that took 2 months. to get an appointment, and you know, the weird thing was 2 months to get an appointment and we're not in there. The doctor said to me, why didn't you come in earlier? But ironic. Right, got to check out now. Got the old headphones. I'll show you these headphones tomorrow. Absolutely rate these things. Got to stick these on and watch some YouTube. So I'll check in the morning. Okay, what I've done here, I've put the inner shell in. Now this is a optional extra that you can buy. So I've got the doors open here. They're single zipped. Yeah, it's single zipped on there. If you look there, you'll see the other zip that runs down there. So it's a 10 denier nylon that's in here. Now it was quite windy last night, and I put this up this morning. It's still, you can see the wind still blowing the fly sheet there. It absolutely blocks the wind out, and it comes just down far enough to go over the material that's at the on the original inner. You can see the gap there, that's still material there. It does block the wind. Notice that straight away that it took the wind. Now it is on a bit of tension when you're in, so when you do zip it up, it does tighten up quite a bit. Obviously it's going to reduce the headspace by, let's look at yeah, it's going to reduce the headspace by a little bit. Looks like 5 centimetres, I would say, all the way around. But it actually does do the job. Now, to be fair to TFS, they've sold it as a 3.5 season inner, and I think as a company, when I've been watching their videos, the translation isn't all that good on some of their early videos, but the AI stuff's getting a wee bit better. You can see they are trying to go in a sort of different direction, but they do listen to the user, as you would say. Now obviously you've lost the pockets there behind, but you can still put your hand up and behind into the little corner pockets. So yeah, that does work. 3.5. There's no fib in there. It's not saying it's a 4-season tent. It's saying it's a 3.5 season tent. So one thing I did notice last night. So I didn't do the guy lines up when I went to bed. It did chuck it down a bit and got really windy. And when I put the guy lines on, there was still quite a bit of movement in the tent. And I thought that because you haven't got any tensioners on the doors, that's what was making them flap, and I got a wee bit frustrated with it, to be quite honest. On both sides they were flapping quite a lot. Then I remembered these tensioners here, so as soon as I tensioned up these two corners, so the two corners that have got the extra strapping on it, it stopped flapping. So it hasn't got the tensioners here, which you get in a lot of tents, or I do in a lot of modifications on my tents. I put them in. I think they're a must. So the tensioner is here for the whole tent on both sides. We've got one there and one there. You can see I've tensioned them up quite a bit from yesterday, and that stopped it flapping. Yeah, again, just for the simple fact that they've done this, which is different, you can see where TFS is going with their tents. They are thinking outside the box. I get the kind of impression that the owner or the CEO or the chap that does all the talking on YouTube, he's a bit like Dan Durston. He does listen, and they do sort of fix things. Right, but before I do a quick summary on the tent, I must talk about these OpenRock headphones, earphones, you want to call them. They are open ear earphones, so they don't actually go in to your ear, they just sit on the outside, and these have been quite a revolution for me. I had the little sticky in type AirPod things, and my God, they irritated me, especially walking when you start sweating and stuff. They kept my right ear one just kept falling out all the time. Sandy got me another set, a red pair, so I wouldn't keep losing them, and I used them for a little while. Again, it's the same thing when you're walking with those things in. For me, it's like being in a tunnel, like a wind tunnel. I don't know why it does that. It just feels a wee bit weird. But I've been using these OpenRock ones. They are absolutely fantastic. So that's a little earbud. At the bottom there, you have a button. So that button there, depending on how many times you press it, changes the settings in it: volume, next track, previous track, pause, and you can also configure it on an app. You can configure the buttons to do what you want to do, and there is even a setting to use the button to take a remote picture on your phone. You just press it and it takes a selfie for you. Also gives you an ability to find them if you've lost them. It gives it a high, very high pitch signal, so you can actually find them if you've left them somewhere or dropped them. So it is customizable. As I said, the battery life is really good, but the sound quality is what got me on these. Now these are retailing at £79 on their website. I'll leave a link down below. If you put in GreyHikes at the checkout, you will get 15% off them. That's what they've given me. I mean, all their communication, they sent it to me and asked me to do it. So I'm more than happy to do these, just for the simple fact of sound quality. I've had them in, and Sandra's had to tell me to take them off because I forget they're on my ears. The other ones, you know they're there because they're sticking in your old lug holes. But I've had these on and I've wandered about the place and I've had them on. Probably some of the last video I did, you'll see me a lot of the times I've got them in. You just don't realise they're there. Sleeping at night, you roll over, they don't impact, they don't stick into your ear and hurt you. They were absolutely fine. I've been lying on my side and watching videos and stuff on the phone with the headphones in, and it's really comfortable. So yeah, I'm quite happy to say that these are the real deal. Really good headphones if you're into your headphones sort of thing. But for hiking wise, to have them just latched around your ear and you're just walking about, no worries about it, not poking in there. Absolutely fantastic. So again, I said at the checkout, type in GreyHikes and you'll get 15% off. But yeah, I do really like these. Right, so what's my plans? I'm sort of up in the air at the minute here. Woke up this morning, I'm getting a bit of pain in the foot again, but I'm going to try and walk the 16 miles back home and see how I feel at the end of that. End of the day, if it's still hurting or it's niggling all the way when I'm walking, then I won't be rejoining the Land's End to John O'Groat's adventure. That'll be put in the back burner for a while until this gets healed. My other plans is, if that does happen, then I will be going back to building my own tent again, so I'll be making my own gear. I've got a couple of videos I want to do in that. I have purchased one of the cheapest, nastiest, poor quality trekking pole tents on the internet. I'm talking, I paid £23 for this thing, so that gives you a good idea what it looks like, and I am going to try and modify it to make it a bit better. That is definitely on the plans. I've got a couple of ideas on videos about, especially going into winter and making sort of camp meals on a budget. I'm going to do a wee bit of that to show you what I do for the meals that I bring down here, because I pay absolute buttons for it. It's all yellow label stuff with some spices and bits and bobs add. So I think it'll be interesting for you to see that, so you can go and make your own instead of paying. I think I went in to get a tin of beans and sausages. I think it was £2.59 for Heinz, which is absolutely ridiculous when it's I think 65p for the yellow label ones, and all you do is add a wee bit, about 4 or 5 different spices into it, and it's absolutely 100% better. But that's for another video. Yeah, and then apart from that, it's just going to be tent reviews when the weather changes. I think think we've got another couple of storms could be heading this way. We'll get the tents up the top there, the ones that are 4 season, and get them out there, see if we can, and it's not to trash them, it's to see if you can pitch in high winds. We've got a lot of tents that will stand up to high winds, but they won't stand up if you can't pitch them in high winds. That's always been my argument, and that's technically what I'm going to try and show. Right, enough of the jibber jabber. Going to head back now. If you get any questions about the TFS, I'm coming back out there again. Yeah, if you get any questions about, I am so nosy when I sit here, I'm like an owl, just looking about the place. Yeah, if you get any questions about the TFS Stars 2 Black Label, stick it in the comments below. If you get any questions about anything, please stick it in the comments. If I can ask everybody, if they could just push a like on the videos. I've noticed now, I've been doing a wee bit of studying while I was walking there. A lot of the videos that don't go anywhere after 3 days, if they don't get a certain portion of likes on the video, they're basically cut off within 3 days. They don't do anything after that, which is a bit of the YouTube algorithm, I would say. But ones who get, I think about 10 likes to every 100 views, I've noticed they keep going for several days, and then they come back in again eventually. But if you could please like and subscribe if you like the content and you want to see future content, that would help the channel grow. The big push is to try and get to the 2,000. I think we're at 1,580, it ticked over last night. But it'd be really good to get to 2,000 by the end of the year. That's for, on YouTube terms nowadays, is a bit of an achievement, I think. So thank you very much for everybody who keeps chipping in there and leaving comments and liking. It's very much appreciated. Right, gonna head off now, get packed up and start wandering. Thanks very much for watching. Take care everyone.